Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com.
Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here, your host for this fine Tuesday evening, episode 182. Thank you for coming back, Jordan. I'm excited you're here.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah, that's a fun sweater. What's that? What does that mean?
Nothing.
Is it a brand? Is it a symbol? Is it
No, it's just like festive. I'm pretending it's winter.
Oh, well, we're supposed to be getting a
cold front this
weekend,
like down
right?
in the 80s, so that'll be
God.
nice.
Woo! Watch out, Texas. Shit's going to get weird in this state. So for those of you guys who don't know, this is Seat Time. We are the online show for the off-road enthusiasts. We are going to beer drink and bench race ourselves through quite a few results from this past weekend, talk to some riders, some racers, and some enthusiasts of the sport, because we're going to have a couple different cool people on. So everybody knows Cody Webb. And those that know Cody Webb well know his sisters. But one thing that I didn't know is that his sisters race and ride dirt bikes. Honestly, did not know that. I mean, you could assume they knew how
right.
Ride a motorcycle.
Kenda Cody Webb.
But racing Endurocross is not easy. No. So when they both are like, oh yeah, we're lining up to race Endurocross, I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's some serious kahunas for ladies to have.
Yes.
They were like, hey, Cody, I need some magic.
Cody,
he was like, okay, sounds good to me. Yeah. So we're going to get to talk to them. That's going to be awesome. Wiley Watson is going to be on. He has a new film coming out, I believe, the end of this week, if not October 1st, called Get Lost. That'll be a good time. We unfortunately did not get to work with him this time. That was my fault. I screwed that up. Apologies, Steven. But that's what happens when life gets in the way sometimes. You make mistakes and forget to respond to emails. But Seat Time. Seat Time is brought to you by the fine folks over at flyracing.com. Obviously, Fly, they don't just make gear. They're very, very huge supporters of the off-road scene, so we would hope that you would take that and go support them as well. So flyracing.com is where you can go check out, their wares, or even better, go to your local dealer and check it out there. That way you get a chance to try it on and support your local scene, which is, really, really the best way to support the sport in itself is to make sure your local dealers are getting that support. By doing that, when you go there, you want to check out the Kenda Tires as well. In the off-road world, we've done the TKO Enduro. We got a chance to do the Equilibriums in Colorado. Then we had the sticky rubber knobbies at the TKO. They're phenomenal tires. They help. They make a huge, dramatic difference. I mean, you heard Cody Webb say when he signed with his new team, unless that team was going to start making a sticky tire, he wasn't going to sign. I mean, that's how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah. So
if you're going to look for a very good quality tire that's not going to break the bank like some of the other ones we know of, KendaTire.com is the way to do that, through Kenda Tire USA. And again, that you can get through your local dealer. Mm-hmm. So those are big supporters as well. So Stillwell Performance at stillwellperformance.com. For those who don't know, that is just off-road suspension badassery. If you're riding a bike with 4CS, a lot of people have issues with those. Too stiff, sometimes even too soft on the Husqvarnas. Stillwell will definitely be able to fix those woes that you have that are very specific to the 4CS forks. And then even out the suspension as well. It's a big thing nowadays with the way that the frame geometries are coming out on the bikes. But then if you have a Kawasaki, if you have a Suzuki, a Yamaha, they can help you as well. They're not KTM and Husky specific. They just have a very, very good reputation. And I'm one of the people that know that they can really help out a lot with the 4CS stuff. So
yep. Definitely
huge shout out to our supporters, and we just say please go check them out at all of their respective channels. Give them a like, give them a high five, a social love tap.
Yeah.
Like a nude Periscope session. That
nope.
If anybody isn't on the social bits, we do now a little bit of a Periscope session beforehand, just to kind of, it's live streaming. This is live streaming. It's fun. It's different. So. But we not the Thursday night show. It doesn't get that weird. It's a pants on party.
We try to keep it
but
clean.
In the midst of, we try.
We try. I mean, I do. He tries.
Yeah. She does, and I try, and then that means she does, and I don't. It's really the way it breaks down.
We're a good balance,
Well, yeah. What's funny, though, is all this stuff. So, congratulations to Stephen Rice and his family. They had their baby. We've talked about it the past couple times. And so, this evening, we have Cooper Bailey as our producer this fine evening. Yeah. So, now you got a whole nother reason to take him home.
Yeah. Totally.
You know what I'm saying? The guys can practice for Thursday night.
Yeah, sure.
That's weirder. But, It's so funny because we were doing the Periscope session, and we don't ever think about it, but a lot of the times we're pre-streaming the show, 3, 4, 5 minutes out there with just that little transparent image out, and Cooper goes to his phone. It's like, I'm going to check it. And all of a sudden, he's like, is it? Are you supposed to be able to hear it? Because we're doing all the Periscope stuff, so we're talking, and the mics are picking it up, and we're like, no, I don't think they are.
That's not.
And it's like, oh, yeah. Right. He's like, how do you stop it? I was like, mute button. Bloop. So we hit the mute button on the mixer. And
it made it really fun and interesting.
Yeah, and then it was like, you need to turn the AC down because it is really warm in here. So we started the show off in a great fashion. And to kind of keep it going, let's talk about some other badassery things that have gone on. So we did get a chance to talk a little bit about Kailub Russell and him cleaning up not cleaning up, but winning his third in a row XC1 championship at the GNCC. Realizing it was scaphoid on one of them and all the stuff that goes with that and naviculars and blah blah blah. Like, so you kind of like hope and pray that it's not something that's so serious for Kailub Russell, because obviously he's at his peak right now.
Yeah, absolutely
dominating.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah,
next season will be cool, and hopefully he takes the winter and heals well and has good support there and doctors that train him and physical therapy, all that good stuff that gets him ready.
That's the way you do it. And then, I mean, obviously, I would imagine he's about to have that surgery. We asked to see if he could come on the show this evening, and he could not. And that's fine. Whatever that was. But I know, when's he going to have the surgery? Is he going to have it in the States and stuff? Because, he had the crazy forearm surgery. And I don't believe that surgery is done in the States. So
I don't know.
I think you have to do that overseas. So I wonder, it's like Matt Hoffman did all the crazy stuff where he got tired of tearing his ACLs, so he went and got some crazy fake ACL stuff put in.
That's awesome. Might as well. You're a professional.
Yeah, so who knows, man? It could get weird for sure. And I'm realizing now that we've got a chat room, so tlk.io/seat time, and I'm not in it, so don't do that, Coop. It killed the audio. Fixed it.
My bad.
Huh?
My bad.
What do we do?
I guess when I switched over to the Russell pictures, it took the audio off.
And
I didn't realize it.
How long were you on that?
For a little bit.
Oh, well. Well, we're figuring it out. It's okay because we're playing around with it. So probably what we should have done is put those pictures in a different layer. But hey.
And then I'm listening to you.
Right.
And then I realized I'm not getting anything to my headphones. So.
Hey, we're figuring it out. So, sorry about that. We got the audio back up. It'll be good to go for a little bit. We'll just have to trim that out during the show and see what happens. So, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We saw Ryan Sipes get a national enduro win, so obviously he's
awesome.
Here.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we see Kailub Russell come back completely healthy next year, and we can see Charlie Mullins back healthy.
Yeah,
we can see Ryan Sipes with his newfound confidence. It's going to be coming
It'll be cool.
And we've seen Grant Baylor has been continuing to get better and better and better. We've seen Chris Bach get a win.
Yeah, and a podium at the National Enduro also.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
Like, there's a lot. Josh Strang, you're right. Yep, he podiumed there. So it's like we could totally have a wicked bitchin' XC1 class next year.
That would be awesome. Everybody stays healthy over the winter. Just go hunting.
Yes,
we did have
a question in the chat room. Isn't Kailub expecting a baby soon? He is.
Yes, baby boy, right?
Lonely? How are you lonely? I guess he's like Tuesday night by himself. He's like, oh.
Man, I miss the show.
All right. Well, Coop, let's text. I'm going to text the ladies. 2 minutes Turkish. If you guys know that line, hit us up in the comments on YouTube, and I will send you some koozies if you know what that quote was from. I'm not saying it again.
Do you have to be like an elder to know what it's from, or is it
elder,
is it modern?
No, not really. True. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So we're gonna get the Webb girls in here. Coop, is that muted while it rings?
I'm going to ask her about this, actually. Never mind. I'm going to ask her.
What? You're going to ask the girls?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Mom.
Cheese, Mom. Shh.
Cheese, Mom. Hey, ladies. What is going on this fine Tuesday evening?
I just walked in from work. Literally, just walked in.
Man, see, when I go to work, I wear, a robe because the stuff I have underneath, I can't actually, wear that in public. So you look way more dressed up than
Batman
I do. So that's awesome. That's good.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, my skibbies would be so much better right now than this outfit. I understand. Well, congratulations on having an awesome weekend, guys. It's I've seen you guys. I've met Sabrina. I've seen Regina at races, but I don't know that I've introduced her in person. But the thing is you guys are Cody Webb's sisters. That's kind of how I've always known you, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing. It's just that's the relationship I know when it comes to y'all. But so when I saw that you guys were racing dirt bikes at an Endurocross, I was like, holy shit, that's some serious stuff because we've discussed it. We were like, you're Cody Webb's sister. They're going to be able to ride a motorcycle.
Right.
Period. They're going to be, they know how to twist the throttle, pull a clutch. That's going to happen. But Endurocross is a beast. So the fact that you guys were taking that on, that's intense.
It's impressive.
And awesome at the same time. So congratulations on just being beast and doing that. But then, tell us how it was because that's insane.
You want to start? I don't know. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely exhausting. I thought that I was in shape before we did it, but literally on the second lap, I only did 3 laps out of 5, and on the second lap, I was pretty much dead.
Is it the sprint aspect of it? That's what I found with a couple Endurocrosses I've done, is that it's just like, I mean, those laps that you do, you don't realize that even though you're kind of like just picking a little pace, like for whatever reason, that obstacle to obstacle to obstacle makes it feel like you're just sprinting. Is that kind of part of it, or you just were like, oh my God, it all hurts?
Definitely. Yeah. I think when it gets worse, when you put pressure on yourself, like when you crash, you're like, oh shit, I got to get up and go as fast as I can again. But that's probably the worst part and the most tiring part, is crashing.
Yeah. Now, we got a chance to actually go to Endurocross last year in Atlanta and host the event. Jordan was actually my co-host there. So from what we saw at that event, and then now that we know that these ladies went out and raced, would you do that? 1, and 2, tell me your thoughts.
Well, I would love to race an Endurocross. I say that from like mental point, but like physically, I might start crying if I actually had to. Yes, a lot. I'm so out of shape, it's ridiculous. Like we've talked about that ghetto Endurocross that we did in Oklahoma before.
Yes.
I mean, I was in like race shape then, and the ghetto Endurocross like killed me. Like a couple laps in, you're like, I'm going to die. Literally, your heart rate is like probably 300. Yeah. I mean, you should be dead. But yeah, so I would love to, yes, but at the same time, I'd probably cry if I got the opportunity to, because I would
You'd do it and cry.
Yes, I'd love it and hate it.
So we'd video it for sure, just to make sure that we capture all
that.
We get all the emotions that Jordan would have to share with us.
That'd be really cool, guys.
So, okay, guys, so give us a little bit of your backstory on dirt bikes. Now, obviously, because a lot of people might think, oh, I can go do an Endurocross, and I disagree. Like, you have to have think beyond beginner's talent to be able to do this. You need to be in that intermediate, if not above that, into the expert realm. So give us a little bit of your backstory, or both of y'all's, of course, on like when you guys got into riding. Has it just been because your brother did it, or has it been a whole family ordeal the whole time?
I think it started from the beginning. Like, my brother started riding when he was 3, and so my dad I was the second child after, and he's like, well, she's going to ride too. So by the time I was 4, I was off training wheels and riding then. And same with Regina. We all started on a little Yamaha 50. And so we had that, and then we also went into trials when we were like 11 or 12, and then we kind of hit junior high, and volleyball and basketball were kind of the team sports at the time, so we went away from riding for a good like 6 or 7 years. And then I played college volleyball last year, and Regina kind of got back into riding, so she went to riding, and then when I finished volleyball, I went and joined her.
Now, Regina, are you the youngest Webb, or is there even another further one that we should be on the lookout for?
No, I'm the youngest. I'm the baby. There's only 3 of us.
So you're the only one that legally can't drink.
Right.
I feel so sorry for you. I mean, I've had such a great time in my life at above 21. How's it been? Like, watch the times now that you've kind of like tried to come back to it. Now, I'd imagine when you guys are kind of doing your own sports and things like that, you're kind of focused on that, and you're like, oh, good job, big brother. That's awesome. But when you kind of gotten back into it right before Sabrina did you kind of go to him for advice, or were you trying to pay attention to maybe things he was doing and how he was training, or were you just kind of like, I'm just going to go ride to have fun, and there was really no, I guess, a real thought behind how you were going to tackle it?
Yeah, well, at first it was all just like riding for fun, and then my dad would go out to because Cody has a track in our backyard, so my dad would go back there with me on the weekends, and we'd kind of practice some of the obstacles, and I was in no rush to try racing or anything. And then once Sabrina got her bike, she got it like 6 months after me, and then I don't know, she's kind of like my little teammate, and then we both motivate each other to go out and practice. And then over summer, we decided that Sacramento is like our hometown race, so we decided we'd sign up for that and then just try it out.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
I have a question. So with Cody as your big brother, does he ever give y'all like pointers? Does that like normally end in like fights, or does that go well? Because I like imagine if my brother tried to tell me that I was doing something wrong, that I would just get really pissed at him. Not like, I mean, even if he was super awesome at it, like I'd be like, who you trying to, what?
Yeah, shut up.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So how does that go? Does he like give y'all pointers and y'all like take it, or?
We try to ask him for pointers, but we feel like most of the time he's like annoyed with us. We're like he's like those little bugs that he's just trying to flick away. He's like, yeah, just do that. But he gives us good pointers when he does. But a lot of credit goes out to our dad for really helping us with a lot of things. Just because Cody's gone most of the time too, anyway.
Yeah, that's true. And then you guys, and speaking of being gone, I mean, we've got Denver, right? This coming up weekend, Endurocross. So man, they've got It's like crazy that with Endurocross, the way it works, they try to cater to so many other different schedules that they like pack them in whenever they can. So it's like, oh, bam, Sacramento, and then all of a sudden we're going to be having Denver this coming weekend. Do you guys get to go? I know you guys have been to X Games. I saw you guys at TKO. Are you guys going to get a chance to be out at any other the events and possibly compete as well?
We might go to Idaho. We might go to Idaho, but we're for sure going to go to Ontario. We'll probably be racing in Ontario.
And Ontario, that's because, I mean, that's like the southern, is that the Southern California or kind of southern?
Yeah, it's down like by LA, kind of.
Okay, yeah. You got it. Yeah. We're in Texas, and it's like, so you can say California. That's like somebody not in Texas, and you're like, El Paso, that's close to you, right? You're like, that's 12 hours away. So it's the same thing for us when you talk about stuff in California. We're like, yeah, San Francisco, that's like right next
there
to San Diego, right? Yeah. No.
Yeah, Texas is huge.
Yeah, so, but, yeah, we really... I don't think we knew what we had when in Oklahoma we actually had when Endurocross was kind of starting up. Yeah, when they only had like a handful of rounds and they were really trying to figure out where in the country to go before they went only West Coast. We had that one up there in Gilmer, not Gilmer. You know what I'm trying to say, up in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like 4 hours away, and it was awesome. We had so much fun going and doing that. I qualified and raced Jeff Aaron, and I got my ass kicked, and I went home. I had a beer, and I cried myself to sleep. Because it's like, you don't even realize how hard your forearms can get. Right. Like, it's just, you pump up it's like stupid. Such a bitch. It's ridiculous.
Like, where did this come from?
I know. It's like, okay, so talk to me about that really quick. Before it's like, you guys have, a practice track that Cody Webb would practice on, and you can get pointers, you can get tips and all that kinds of stuff, and... sometimes you don't notice that these guys do warm up. So, what about that? Like, that's a big thing I think a lot of people don't realize is the proper way to warm up. Is there anything there that you guys kind of like zoned in on from maybe your other sports or from watching your brother that really got you ready for your race?
Honestly, our warm-up session consists of dancing. Like, we'll just blare music and try to get rid of our nerves as best as we can because we're really in it to have fun. So before the Sacramento Endurocross, we had a bunch of our friends out in the parking lot and blast music and whip a nay-nay.
Do you know what that is?
I know the term. I do not know what that looks like.
Is there any way that one of you guys could like step back and like show me what that is?
Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what that is. I can't do it. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
It sounds scary to me. But I do. I've heard
I've heard of it. I don't have a clue.
For some strange reason, I feel like I have. I don't know. Maybe that's like turn it. I don't know. I sound like an idiot here.
Maybe Texas.
I think we're just like completely out of any sort of cool or. I mean, I guess I should speak for myself. You just gave me a dirty look.
Hey. At 36, I feel like I do a pretty good job trying to keep up. No, I don't use Snapchat. No, I don't get it. But that's okay.
You know Snapchat, you're crazy.
See? But it has effects.
It has effects. We need effects.
Because it has effects.
It has effects.
All right. So, the women's class at Endurocross. Was it? Who did you guys like race against, like Morgan Tank and Rachel Gudish and the likes there, or was there in Sacramento like kind of an expert amateur class that you guys were able to compete in?
No, we were thrown in the race with like Morgan Tankey and
Sandra Gomez.
Yeah, Sandra
Rachel
Gomez was there.
Gudish.
Rachel Gudish, Lexi Bishout.
Yeah.
Man.
And Turner. They're so badass. Like
Yeah.
I give them so much props for what they do.
I know it was last, like, and I always knew Rachel Gudish was good at what she did. Like, she was a good dirt bike rider, but it was last year at the TKO when I finally was like, that's when it, like, dawned on me, is because, like, she, like, whooped my ass at the TKO. Like, I missed qualifying for the afternoon race by, like, 3 minutes, and I think she made it by, like, 10 minutes. And that's when I was like, I'm going to go asleep. But this year I qualified for Sunday.
I'm going to go cry myself to sleep is what you really said.
I really do that a lot, don't I? It's kind of unfortunate.
You can cry yourself to sleep. It's kind of fun, I guess.
It's part of being 36.
It happens.
When you have 3 kids, you do whatever
Cry
it takes
yourself
to
to
fall asleep as fast as you can. If it's a couple tears,
do what
you
you gotta
work.
do.
You make it work. Well, cool. Well, awesome job, ladies. I mean, holy shit. Super impressive that you guys did this. I would love to see you guys out there again. And obviously, the next event that I'm at that you guys are at, I'll have to be more social and be able to chat with you guys more in person. Just because that way I could be less of a loner. But hey.
Well, hopefully Jordan will be there too, racing with us.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome.
I agree.
And I'll show you how to whip a nene.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be good. Help us stay, current.
Do I need to know what that is?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Could I do it right now with my ankle the way it is a better question.
Could he?
Would I be in the handicap crowd?
Oh man, maybe.
We're gonna have to YouTube this after the show.
I think we are. After the show, we're gonna whip a nene onto YouTube and see how it goes. So, Webb Sisters, you guys are awesome. Thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing more badass action from you ladies in the future.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Bye, y'all.
I just realized too that it's like a shit ton of blondes tonight.
What?
I'm like the random brunette. What the hell?
Yeah,
All right.
well,
Thanks, guys.
sorry.
Really appreciate it.
See ya.
All right.
Thank you.
And I noticed we had Wiley Watson already dropping in text. He's like, so I got to tell him, get ready. But yes, so it's going to be a good time. Man, holy crap. So yeah, how are you going to get yourself to an Endurocross to compete with those ladies?
I am not sure. Money and a ride.
Okay. Well, nobody has...
And working out beforehand.
Stepped up
So I'm not
yet.
going in the shape
Nobody
I'm in.
stepped up yet to get me to the Baja Rally next year on an adventure bike. So I'm really
So I'm
disappointed
second in
that.
line is what you're saying.
I guess maybe we can get somebody to step up and get you to an Endurocross.
You're like, but you're out. I'm going to Baja
Let's
first.
see how it goes. Well, Mr. Wiley Watson, you're looking sexy. I'm loving your beanie, broski.
Thank you. Got styled out.
Hell yeah. This is seat time, bro. You got to step it up, right?
Yep. Got a roll deep.
Absolutely. Well, dude, it has been unfortunately too long since we've had you on. And as I said, my summer's been crazy. And we got a chance to see the trailer for your new video that's going to be coming out this week, if not October 1st. Get Lost. And so I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time to have Wiley Watson on to chat with him again, to kind of not just catch up with what's been going on, but then as well talk about the video, all the ways that people are going to be able to get a hold of it. So to that regard, what the heck has been going on? I mean, besides filming, because obviously that's how you make a movie, right?
Yeah. The summer's actually been super busy. I've been working on a ton of different projects. I've been working a lot, well, on this film, obviously. Then I've been co-producing a 3-episode kiteboarding series and working with a couple different brands in the kiteboarding industry. Doing some stuff in a couple different sports to try and mix it up and just keep things fresh. And definitely have had my hands full for sure. And the Get Lost project has they're always a lot more work than you think they really are. And the last 10% of the film is really difficult and has been really difficult. It's been finals week over here for a month, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's like when you're pulling those 22-hour days,
I can
and it's just
understand
like
that.
the details that you gotta go through. So, in a project like the one that you're about to release for Get Lost, where does that start for you? Like, the idea is, like, when was this project an idea for you, and then when did you go, okay, I'm pulling the trigger, and we're going to start filming and start, really starting to go into pre-production on something like this?
Well, last year we did Lost in the Pacific Northwest, which was a 3-episode web show series that we shot up here in, obviously, the Pacific Northwest, and it was super fun. We had a good time, and it was successful. Like, there was really good response for it, a lot of solid views. So I kind of wanted to cater that same style and same format into a film, and that's what we ended up doing. It varied a little bit. We have a little more storytelling and narration, kind of setting up the scene, and basically like why you would want to get lost, or what, let's say, you want to escape the day to day and everybody just wants to go ride their dirt bikes with their buddies and go have a good time. And that's kind of the theme that we went for. And then alongside of that, we're also like pushing the free riding and the progression and like doing new crazy stuff that is inspiring to people to get outside their comfort zone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love it too, because I'm a big fan of Kyle Redmond. The guy's so soft-spoken, and now granted, I know that I can be a little overbearing at times.
No.
So when I do talk when I talk with Kyle, I'm always kind of like, I'm very hesitant because he's so soft-spoken. I'm always afraid that, like, I can't tell if he's being soft-spoken or if he's just, like, so annoyed with me. and most of the time, I think it leans towards soft-spoken, so it's okay. But, like, so when you hear him talk about how much free riding means to him and a little bit of the narrative parts that you do have in the trailer, it that resonates a lot with me because of the fact that Kyle doesn't talk a lot. So when he finds very descriptive words to talk about things that he enjoys, that's when I know that it's like you're getting a lot of Kyle Redmond right now. Like,
yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, really the only way to talk to Kyle is you got to talk shit to him. That's what I figured out. Seriously, that's it. It's the only way. If you want to get any words out of him, you got to be hard on him.
I like it. So we do have a question in our chat room. And I figure we'll hit it up since it just popped up. Is a favorite piece of gear that you used while shooting Get Lost?
Well, I did pick up a new camera. I picked up a Sony FS7, which is like a step up from the Sony FS700, which everyone's kind of been shooting on the last couple of years, which is like super slow motion, yada yada. But the Sony FS7 is sick because it's 4K and the image is stunning. And this, by the way, this film is like it's all on 4K, and it's going to be online through Amazon at 4K resolution. And I think that's the first moto film that's going to be released at full 4K. So I think that
is awesome.
That'll be pretty cool. We got a Ronin M gimbal that really was super fun to work with, and I think that was the coolest piece of equipment. Just it created this feel and perspective that it's like a drone, but it's on the ground and you can get it in more places, and it's just brings an extra dynamic to the film, and I think it's really cool. So. Yeah, I would say the gimbal for sure. That's pretty neat.
That's interesting that you say that, because I have yet to use a Ronin, and when the Ronin M came out, I immediately said, whenever Borrow Lenses has one, I'm going to rent it, because I was like, that's it. Like a gimbal that I can use with my DSLR-sized camera. I was like, oh, absolutely in love with that idea. I haven't found a project or the money yet to do it, but as soon as I can, Borrow Lenses does have it now, so I'm super excited to get that. But the gimbal that I have spent a lofty $300 on was for the Hero 4, and it's the Fuji Tech or whatever, the G4 Axis. But just having a gimbal for when I run and gun with the GoPro now
makes big difference.
Blew my mind away. Like it's one of those,
big difference.
I always was like, okay, I double held my arm when I would hold it to kind of like, because I know, like, looking at footage, you can see the shake. And or using a little Steadicam kind of device, but they just weren't great. Mm-hmm. But since this gimbal is built specifically, it's weighted for the Hero 4 Silver or the Hero 4, Dude, holy crap. So I can only imagine when you take that to 4K, you know, and the amazing shots that you're getting with that Ronin M, that these are probably going to be some sick ass shots.
Sick ass. Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing about it is we were able to put it in our backpack and ride with it, which you can't do with a lot of stuff.
No.
No, that's definitely the most challenging part about getting to a lot of the locations that we're shooting at, is actually getting there is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because you got to be a good rider, and then you have to be able to carry like 50 pounds of gear, and it's a serious project.
And by good rider, he means not a crasher.
Yeah, you're risking all the gear in your pack, so you better not crash either.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, shoot.
That reminds me of a story. My dad told me, so they went to the KTM Adventure Rally this past 2 weeks ago, and there's a guy there that crashed and broke his collarbone on the ride. And lo and behold, find out that the guy had just been released from the doctor from breaking his collarbone.
No.
And the doctor said, sure, I mean, you can go, just don't fall.
It's the doctor's fault.
That's the doctor pretty much saying you probably shouldn't go.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so it's like that point where you're like, yeah, I mean, you can do it.
Just don't fall.
Just don't fall. Like, so, yeah, it's like, I got like, you know, how much would the FS7 cost? $6,000, $5,000?
It's about $8,000.
$8,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and
crap.
that's the camera he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, with the FS7, was that for the Ronin M, or did you use a different?
No, we used a GH4 for the Ronin M.
Okay, yeah, because the Ronin M, I think the FS7 would be too big for that size gimbal, right?
Yes, I tried. It's not. There's no way. I mean, and honestly, like, you'd think, oh, you know, carrying it around with the GH4, it actually is heavy. Not, I mean, it's relatively not that heavy, comparison to, you know, the regular Ronin, and when you're carrying like a Red or an FS700 or an FS7, I don't even know how people do that for an extended period of time, because it makes a big difference. Yeah. And the weight of the Ronin M with the GH4 is way more efficient, especially for the stuff we were doing. So that was the decision making behind that, and it's a little bit more affordable too. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now our good friend Rob Mitchell, and I'm sure you've chatted with him before in the past, and I know I chat with him quite often. He jumped in the chat room to ask a couple questions, and I know he's working on a film, and so this will be really pertinent to something he's got going on. He wants to know if you could describe a little bit of the process that you had with Get Lost and then others like What Is into iTunes. He seems to be kind of hitting a roadblock where, you know, he can't do it himself and has to go through an aggregator, and you know, and it sounds like it's cost an arm and a leg to make it happen, and didn't know if maybe you've got ways that you figured out a way around that, or if it's just pay the piper and just hope you make the money back.
I mean, making a film I'd say it's a lot more difficult than people think, and I think that's the reason why there's only 2 or 3 people in the moto industry doing it right now. I mean, you have Taylor, who does the movie series, and he does one project a year, and that's it. Like, that's all he does, and it's a huge undertaking to do that project. I know, because I've been on set many times, and it's a giant workload. Right. And for me personally, like, since I started doing films back in like 2006 and 2007, I have, you know, I would say I have the line of contacts and communication open with people that I've established, you know, 8 years ago now. So that's super helpful for me, because I've already had films come out, and I have those contacts, and I can, you know, hey, we're doing a new project. Okay, great. Let's pick this up. And I think that is widely beneficial for me, because unless you're somebody outside the box and you have a ton of money that you're like, oh, hey, I want to do this. Well, you got to prove yourself first, but it's hard to do that on, you know, shoestring budget, which most of us are doing it on. It's tricky, you know. Making a film costs a ton of money, and it's amazing how much time you can just put into the 3 to 4 minute web edit, and then times that by 10, and you realize, wow, I just spent, you know, 15 to 20 grand on just production, like, and that's cheap, you know.
Yes.
I mean, really, realistically, to make a film at 45 minutes, I would say it would be a minimum 30 grand, because a song can cost anywhere from $1,500 to $8,000, you know, just for one track for 3 to 4 minutes. So times that by, let's say 5 or 6, and there could be your whole budget right there. Luckily for me, I'm working with somebody who's scoring my stuff, and he's doing a really good job, and it's way more affordable. I did spend $3,000 on music for this film outside of what I'm paying the guy to score the stuff. Which, I mean, you kind of have to spend a little bit more to get the better songs, but it's a real struggle to work with the artists too. Not necessarily the artists, but the labels, because you're in communication with the label, right. And they want more money. Like originally, this label wanted $10,000, we got them down to $5,000, and then I was like, "There's still no way, but I'll give you $1,500," and we went with $1,500, which worked out well. But I mean, it just costs a lot of money is what it comes down to. And luckily for me, I've been in it for a while, so I have, you know, the connections established already, and, you know, I'm lucky for that. I appreciate that people value, you know, the work that I do. So it's good.
Right on. And then geek question is, how does the GH4 really compare to the FS7? And I don't like, and this is kind of the top of my head, like I don't really think there's much comparison. It seems like they're you know, two different tools for two different types of shots and two different, you know, jobs. Well, but you're the professional.
I put the GH4 through the ringer, and the GH4 does a fantastic job. Really, I think the GH4 is a great tool for 95% of the people in the filmmaking industry, or who want to film or do web videos or even make films. Really, it comes down to the user and how good you are with the settings and how good you are in post-production and the color process, and you know, acquiring the correct, whether it's exposure or shutter. There's a lot of small things with that camera that you can do that most people maybe overlook, and the only thing that I'll say is it's a little bit high contrasty and high saturated. So to change colors, it's a lot more difficult than it is with the Sony FS7, where you're shooting this picture profile that's called S-Log, and it's basically when you're in color correction, it shoots a real flat gray color. But what that allows you to do is you can bring out all these different colors and kind of create a custom look. And with the GH4, you're more fixed. So you have, you know, your reds are really red, or your yellows are really yellow, and you can't pull. There's less give and take there. Yep. But like I said, 95% of the people aren't really going to notice the difference, or they're, you know, it's not that big a deal. And I was able to match a lot of the footage. Like, I bet a lot of people aren't going to be able to tell the difference. Other than when you're in the middle of the day and it's really bright and super contrasty, you can tell that the GH4 stuff it looks a little different. But yeah, I think it's a great camera. Other than the lack of slow-mo, but whatever.
And with you're talking about the color correction and it's kind of shooting a little bit flatter. That's actually a big feature now on GoPro. A lot of people don't realize that the Pro Tune is what it allows it to do. Is it allows it to shoot in that flatter setup, so that when you can go in and start editing and go into post-production, you can go into color correction and you can then kind of create a better look and feel for what you want to create, or just in the long run at least match color better for when you're, you know, mixing shots like he's talking about, where it's maybe a little bit more outside, a little bit more daytime versus maybe it's a little bit later in the afternoon, or inside interior type shots, or just even changing angles. So we're seeing that more, but it's to that point. It's probably only 5% of the people out there that really know how to grasp that ability and really, you know, make it useful in the way that it's there for.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. I mean, you know, most people will do great with the GoPro, and you can get crazy good footage out of GoPro, especially if you know what you're doing and how you acquire the footage. But just like the GH4, like I said, it really comes down to the end user. And it's not all about having a red camera and a $40,000 setup, because if you don't know what you're doing with it, it's not going to make any difference. And honestly, most people don't have 4K monitors. They don't have 4K displays. Everything's played at 1080. So, you know, 4K, it's kind of more like marketing hype, I would say. I have a 4K monitor. It does look really sick. the film looks super good on 4K. I'm really stoked with how the image came out with that I shot for Get Lost. But at the end of the day, 90% of the people that buy the film aren't going to even watch it on 4K. So you kind of have to realize like that's where people are at right now, or you're a consumer. And yeah, like everyone in the film industry is like, oh, 4K this, 4K that, 4K that. But really, the end user does not watch it at 4K. So
Yeah.
how much are you going to pay to make that happen,
Yeah, I think I was watching. So, and you're talking about equipment, and the level of effort. If you go to fstoppers.com, there's a video that we were talking about right before the show started. A guy uses iPhone 6S and a flashlight to shoot pictures that he then went and edited in Photoshop, and they look like he's using $40,000 worth of equipment. So the thing is it's not just about the equipment. Sometimes it's about the fundamentals.
Absolutely.
And so it's just crazy, if you take the time to learn that kind of stuff, what you can do.
It's also about having good content too. Like you can't, as they say, polish a turd, and that's really true.
And see, we realize that, and seat time's okay. Like it's a turd that floats. It doesn't ever sink. You keep flushing it; it just stays around and hangs out.
Here we are,
and we got no inhibitions about it, so we're okay with that. So quickly before we let you go, the kiteboarding thing. Tell me a little bit more about that, because the reason why I ask is, one, I'm interested, but two, like, the moto industry is the moto industry. You can tell guys like Kyle Cowling, like, he gets it, and he's trying to do his own thing, even though he's still within the moto industry. It's his own thing to make his own money. He doesn't have to ask people to sponsor it, but it's like,
I admire him for that, because that's really hard to do.
Yes. Yeah, I can only imagine the shitstorm that he's going through, and has been, especially after this last episode. It seems like everybody lost their balls.
I think it's really great. I think somebody stirring the pot is super good, because I feel like nobody does, and everybody just looks the other way and doesn't really do anything to change what's going on. And I think that's something that is long overdue, I would say. And I think it's cool that he's bringing a different perspective to things. But that's another conversation.
Boy, you got that, and that's what's weird, is that honestly that's like a rabbit hole, because we could take that like into the deep dark places. But like the kiteboarding thing, I think is super smart, because you did get your start in the moto industry. But I think the more and more you stay in the moto industry, if you're going, you know what, I want to make bigger projects, I want to make a little bit more money, I want to do bigger, grander things, you have to realize at some point you have to look beyond the moto industry. So is the kiteboarding thing part of that? Is the kiteboarding thing just a wicked cool opportunity to do something different? Or
I would say, well, since I grew up in Hood River, Oregon, and I'm actually back here like 8 months out of the year, then I'm down in SoCal 4 months out of the year. Okay. The hub of the sport is literally like right out my window, and a lot of the top athletes are living here now, and it's like everybody wants to shoot. And so for me, I'm interested in getting outside the box and doing something different to, keep everything fresh and have fun. And, the kiteboarding industry isn't that big. It's relatively pretty small.
Right.
But it's cool because it's not that competitive yet as far as filming. And there's people doing it, but there's not anybody doing it like blowing minds, on projects. I'm not saying I'm doing that, but there's opportunity for that. And actually what we're doing is, my girlfriend who's co-producing the series, it's actually on women, and it's for professional women. But the thing is, they shred, like, it's super sick. Like, I've been getting into the sport more and more because I go watch and film them, and they're like killing it, and I'm like super stoked. And I've been kiting myself, and for me to like film something and get into it, I have to actually do it in order to feel like what's going on.
Yep.
Like, what is the feeling that they get when they do this trick or how they ride? Like, and I've got that feeling now, and it's fun. Like, I'm having a blast doing it. It's not like, I'm not going to go away from the moto industry and just film kiting, but it's an additional extension that I'm putting myself out there, and we're doing some good work. And actually, in a month or so, we're dropping the start of that series, and yeah, it should be cool. But I'm always going to be, rooted in the moto industry, and more so off road. I'm not really up on the moto scene. I could be, but I don't know. I think filming on a moto track is boring, honestly. So, and anybody can do it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I don't. And I think too, like say like the kiteboarding thing, like you get out there and you start filming and kiteboarding, you have to start thinking about things a lot different because all of a sudden there's a whole nother element, water. Like
yeah, well, all of a sudden you're like, well, I can drop my camera in water. That sucks.
Like so you have to think about your shots somewhat differently, or think about the shots you want to take, and you go, okay, well, no, I want to do this in the water. So then you're getting all this gear to make sure you can do that. Like that mindset, then now you can go. You've thought about things so different. Then you take that back to motorcycling and off-road riding and stuff, and how you're going to shoot things. Like you're going to start looking at things totally different.
Yeah.
So that could create some wicked cool, features down the line as you start to craft all these, new greatnesses.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we'll see how, Get Lost kind of is received, because it is kind of, I'd say it's a little slightly progressive and it's more free riding, but alongside that, it has some storyline to it as well. And I'm kind of going to see how this film does. And, the next step is to see how much energy I want to devote to putting into another film, or if I want to do web stuff, or if I just, want to work with brands on creating small pieces. I'm not sure yet, but we'll kind of see what happens here in the next 6 months and go from there. So
wicked. All right. When does it come out? How can we get our grubby little paws on it? Get Lost.
So the film's going to come out, I believe, end of October, 1st of November. We'll have our website up at the end of the week, and it'll be getlost.mx. MX was, it stands for Mexico, but I thought MX worked a little bit better than .com. So we went with that.
I'm with you.
And then, we'll be pushing the trailer. Check out the trailer. It's kind of all over the place right now. I think the trailer came out super solid and represents what the film is going to be about. And we'll have we're going to do a couple premieres too, which I think is something that I've been missing in the past films, because it's just really fun to get everybody together and go have a couple beers and enjoy a movie, kick back. So
absolutely,
that will be online soon about that.
If you would like to let us host one in Texas, you just let us know, and Seat Time
for sure,
because we like beer and we like your movies. If we put those two things together, I may not wind up with pants. And that in itself is another glorious occasion for everyone to enjoy. So
you're gonna lose you're lost your pants. Brian gets lost with his pants off or something.
Hello. Got lost. No, I get
got lost.
they got lost. I like it. Well, cool. Well, that's gonna be a good time. So getlost.mx. It's funny. It's going to be interesting. You bring up a point. Me being a web developer, I kind of watch a lot of this stuff that goes on in the because internet world, and it's so many people like seattime.co. You mean .com? No, and I've been dealing with that for 5 years, and I still get that, and I'm just like, oh my, like what the fuck world? That's like the people live in. So it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is for you.
We'll see what the .mx does, but I feel like MX is very motocross, and I feel like that's going to be like, because only moto people are going to go there, right? So if you don't get the MX thing,
I agree. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. One thing before I go, what did you think of? What did you guys think of the trailer?
Oh, I loved it. Some of the quadcopter shots. I want to say quadcopter. Either they may have been a helicopter.
Drone. It's all drone stuff.
Yeah. Oh, dude, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shots. And of course, I talked about the Kyle Redmond shots. Yeah. And the way that he spoke to it, I love that because I feel the same way. Like what we did in Colorado this summer. You get out there with your buddies and you see stuff. Of course, if it's marked as trail, you don't go off the trail.
Which we
if you're
didn't.
in Colorado. But other times you might, and you just kind of ride, and you and your buddies just try shit. That's that weird fun dynamic that doesn't happen in races. It doesn't happen at organized practices. It doesn't happen in an MX track.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that. And Kevin Rookstool is a badass, and he
is badass.
He's a little loose upstairs. So I can only imagine some of the lines that he probably pulled off. But yeah, no, I was very, very happy with it, and happy in the sense that, like, yeah, here's my money. Take my money. Take my money. What did you think?
I have not got a chance to watch it.
What a whore.
I had school. What? That was harsh.
I'm just kidding.
Class all day.
You are married.
Doing homework. Man, he's gonna over here trying to dig himself out of a hole.
Nah, I never.
But I will tonight. I will watch it, and if it's as epic as you just made it sounds like I'm gonna be pumped.
Yeah. So, the Amazon 4K. You mentioned Amazon 4K. Is like iTunes deal? Do they not have that available yet? Is that not a thing?
No, iTunes will have it available. Everything will come out at the same time. But Amazon, like, I don't know if it's Prime or they're doing their own thing of digital downloads. But they will have a 4K version to download from Amazon. Separate. It's different from the iTunes platform. So, and it's the only online platform that's hosting 4K films right now. So it'll be pretty cool.
They're probably big. Lot of gigabytes.
Yeah, a lot of gigabytes. The film that I sent over to them ended up being 346 gigs. Yes.
You're like, I'm gonna mail you a hard drive. Here you go.
And I probably need a new computer because I had literally melted mine exporting. It was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we've probably talked about. Oh wait. Oh yeah. So, Rob is in the chat room. He's like, they got y'all excited because of Facebook posting that was coming out this week, and I'm assuming that was probably like the website because that's what it sounds like. The website's going to be up by the end of the week.
The website.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rob, sorry. Put your thing away. Zip up your pants.
Sorry about that.
You'll be able to play with it next month. Sorry, buddy. Well, dude, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Sorry it's been so long since you've been on, and as well, sorry for dropping the ball on not getting back to you on emails. That's just a fuck up on my part, to be honest. So.
That's all good. I know how it is. So we'll I'll email you back too on the last one. I went for a hike today, so I have the girlfriend's parents are in town, so I gotta play a little entertain,
I understand.
Go do that stuff.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. Thank you for producing another fantastic off-road video film for us to partake in, and maybe by that point, Rob will be ready to unzip and play again, and it'll be a good time. But no, so thank you for being on the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Later, dude. Take it easy.
All right. See you later.
Peace. Ah, hell yeah. No, it really is. It's a great trailer, and it really does showcase what looks like is going to be epic footage to watch over and over and over again. But yeah, we'll go watch that right when the show's over. So speaking of ending the show, it's funny because we were saying, without Steven here, we're probably going to have a short show, just take it easy. But as always, it's 9 o'clock. We find a way to let me talk too much.
Well, that's okay. I think that's what people tune in for.
I can only hope they tune in for you.
Well, whatevs.
That's what you hope to.
No, I don't.
Egotistical.
Please, I actually tell people, do not
bull.
watch. I can't stand the sound of my voice.
That just means do not listen.
Yeah, okay. Just turn the volume off.
You're like,
I never listen to anything that I'm like speaking in.
Yeah?
A video, yeah. Can't do it. Man. Can't handle it.
That's just weird. So coming up, GNCC, we got the CarMate, Mountain Ridge, Pennsylvania, PA. Pennsylvania? Yeah. Is that math? No. We're assuming that we're not going to have a Kailub Russell, that he's probably going to be having surgery or at least getting ready for surgery. So it'll be cool to see, Ryan Sipes has been on a tear. Josh String's been doing pretty good.
That Duvall, wasn't he on the podium
with
at
the last one? Yeah, he was on the podium with the last one too. All them Huskies. So,
yeah.
Excuse me. So that'll be fun. Of course, we do have another Endurocross coming up this weekend in Denver, Colorado. So we'll see if Cody Webb can extend his 7-point lead further, or if others can pull it back.
Yeah. What? How's
that gonna go? So remember, reviews. Thank you for the ones that have given them. So on iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube, all those, drop reviews or comments about the episodes, and you will then have a chance to win some Seat Time koozies. That'll be a good way to do it. Sellfy.com, SELLFY.com. You can get to it off the Seat Time website as well. We do have the TKO raw footage there, so 15 minutes of pretty much 2-stroke noises. So it's like, it's like 15 minutes of premix, big boys. It's good stuff, dude. It's really epic. It literally costs you $2. It helps fund us a little bit for the trip out to the TKO, and just like what we got done talking with Wiley, a chance to create more content in the future. Speaking of course, you can find us. seattime.co is the website. That is where all of this is archived. We are on Twitter. So at seattime_co is our Twitter handle. Of course, we are on Instagram. It's at seattimeco. At seattime. Whoa.
Whoops.
Too many pale ales. Damn it, Tam. My beautiful wife buying me beer. I love that woman. And then huge thank you to Fly Racing. Go check them out at flyracing.com or at your local dealer. And of course, Kenda Tire USA at kendatire.com or at your local dealer. And then Stillwell Performance, the best off-road suspension out there at stillwellperformance.com. This has been Seat Time, episode 182. You're Jamil
98.
Jamil 98. I am at Woody B. Pierced. I am going to have there's a blog. I might as well say this. There's a blog out there called This World Exists. And you just type it in thisworldexists.com. And I actually have a blog post out there. They posted it yesterday, but told me about it today. So go look that up. I think it was 100 Miles to Nowhere.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, so 100 Miles to Nowhere on This World Exists. Go check that out. It's just a quick little 400 or 500 words about our Seat Time adventures without actually mentioning Seat Time adventures. But it's okay. It's okay.
But it was good.
It's for a purpose. So thank you guys very much. It's been Seat Time episode 182. We'll be back next week.
See ya.
I have no idea. I just hit all the stop buttons.